วัสดีค่ะ
Good afternoon and welcome everyone for our afternoon sessions. And these sessions, I would like to invite everyone to look forward. How do we, how can we jointly create a new skills and innovation model? And how can we create good jobs and have a quality development? This research is conducted together with Dr. Saurat Ratanakampu and other two researchers. And the new model relying on skills and innovation is that we have to elevate our technology together with skill development. Together, we can improve technology by two means. First, to adopt foreign technology, and secondly, to create innovation in Thailand. Or I can say it shortly, or research. And skill development has to correspond to new technology to enable Thai workers to work and build technology. So if we only develop technology without developing skills, we will end up with a technology where no one can operate. And this afternoon, I will section my speaking points into two parts. First, on innovation, and secondly, on human skills development. To create new development relying on innovation, we have to work in triple helix approach. A collaboration between private agency who conduct research and adopt new technology. Secondly, on academician who conduct studies and research. And lastly, the government will regulate the market. With this triple helix approach, we can innovate new technology and develop and skill developments, which in results we can have a good jobs and new economic and development model. We can do this through multiple ways. We can rely on FDI industry, for example, PCB and semiconductors. Or we can elevate current industry, for example, food, and creating new technology such as service industry and medical technology. And if we're looking at the innovation, we see that Thailand do not accommodate new technology since we have not been able to adopt triple helix seriously, and research cannot contribute to a concrete result. In Thailand, we have seen many research investments, but still lacking behind compared to other countries in Asia. On the left hand side, Thailand has only invest in innovation at 1.2%, which is less than Singapore or China. And Thai government only allocate 20% in research investment. But government should play an important role in developing countries to accommodate and facilitate innovation and to support private sector. But the problem is we have very low investments in research, which we should increase the government spending on research to boost the economic. And research for private sector uh, also at a minimum level, since 80% that has a capacity to invest technology are from the large companies, while SMEs only have 20% investment capacity. And so the main problem is the lack of funds and financial support. Therefore, the government should promote more of this by offer investments and funding to SMEs. But also we have a limited policy and measure that does not incentivize private sector. We do have certain measure from NSCDA and BOI to reduce 6% income tax at 200%. And we have a research fund from NIA that only offer 1.5 million baht per year, which is not consistent. And the funds are limited. So funds only only granted in the as a 1 year period, and this does not continue onward. And recently, BOI just issued a new measure that offer research investment at the maximum of 50 million baht, but with challenging criteria. It means that the business has to prepare 50 million baht to invest. And for SME development agency who want to join the program SME 1 ID, they have to have 20 million baht in research funds, but not all business have this kind of money. And with this limit, the limited investment from private also affect the public sector. And the registration process is complex, and the research focus on the low price products, which is the and another issue is that many research do not contribute to tangible impact. And based on our findings, the invest only emphasize on infrastructure and basic research. And you can see on the left hand graph, if you consider TRL or technology readiness level, 43% of budget covers TRL 1 to 3, which is the lowest level. And another thing is, but educational institute only publish work. So all the professors and assistant professors focus on the publish of these papers, which does not translate into real action. And this further constrain the research fund. And in the past 5 to 6 years, we have seen a meeting from the Council of Higher Education, Science and Research and Innovation. And all of these 18 meetings, the Prime Minister, which is the chair of this committee, only attend 3 meetings, while the Deputy Prime Minister joined 12 meetings, while the Ministry of Higher Education attend 18. So it means that the country leaders has not pay enough attention to this promotion. So we need commitment to have a true change in innovation fund. And besides all those challenges, we can see a good collaboration happens in Thailand, which is called triple helix. For example, in hard disk manufacturing industry, whether Western or Seagate, who invested and set up the business in Thailand, and what they did, these companies collaborate with the education institution. They hire professor from the university to work under talent mobility to improve productivity, improve testing testing capacity, and the government also offer tax subsidization of 200%, and you can, and this Western digital get enjoy the 200% tax exemption, and this make us a hard disk drive manufacturer which export over $10 billion last year, which we only second to China. And the examples of triple helix collaboration. This is one of the example adopting AI to analyze X-ray image by Inspectra. It's a startup in Thailand in identify and diagnosis 8 illness, which is 94% accuracy, and reduce the burden on radiologists for 70%. And this AI is used in 100 hospitals. And Inspectra has received granting from BDMS of Bangkok Lucis Medical, who plays a role of CBC. And Inspectra working closely with Sirirat Radiology and Institute of Field Robotics. And the government also support the funds through NIA or T-cells. And more importantly, NHO also adopt this Inspectra AI CXR in more than 100 hospitals under NHSO administration. And this is one of the example that we have this new technology implemented in Thailand. Another success story in Thailand. This happened in a corporate level, not at the industrial level. If we look to Singapore, we can see the power of triple helix that can further advance the market. For example, biomedical industry create over 26,000 jobs, added value of 2.6% to GDP, and this is through the collaboration of with GlaxoSmithKline and other large companies such as Sanofi, Biotech, Menasak, Merex, together with A-STAR. A-STAR is the Agency for Science, Technology and Research, which has had 20 to 30 years experience of research. And the government also focus and working closely with private sector. They jointly and promote skills for foreign high skill workers and promote the productivity. And in Singapore also set up a national committee which is called BMS initiative to subsidize and provide financial support. And we can connect both private and public sector together. And another example in the new industry, such as semiconductors industry in Taiwan. Currently, the value have been added at 15% and contribute to 4.5% to GDP. This is a result of triple helix led by TSMC and has long-standing relationship with ITRI, which is the Taiwan Industrial Technology and Research Institute, and together with collaboration with multiple universities in Taiwan, and Government also subsidize and provide support for over 30 to 40 years. Government and academic and educational institute work together on to address strategic demands, and the public sector and private sector work together under the frame of Shinshu Science Park. So this to show the power of triple helix that can work together and have to work in harmony. So if we compare triple helix approach between Taiwan and Singapore, that create new businesses, and if we compare that to Thai triple helix, we see 4 weaknesses in Thailand. First, we lack of common goal and strategy. Secondly, relationship is a one-way relationship without two-way consultation or serious consultation. Thirdly, lack of connection between educational institution and private sector. And lastly, we do not have a platform that we can collaborate. So to ensure an effective innovation, we need to adopt triple helix approach. First, we need to establish a triple helix strategy through this blueprint of Reinvent Thailand, and we should enhance collaboration between 3 parties through this same platform, Reinvent Thailand. Government should promote collaboration between private sectors, and lastly, government should formulate a long-term strategy on continuous skill development, business matching to motivate and attract more investment from private sector, to leverage government procurement to bolster new innovation, and lastly, to promote startup businesses. And apart from working together with government or public sector, we need to reach out and engage with the educational institution. We can set up an industrial institute such as ITRI in Taiwan or A-Star in Singapore, because no country in this world that can create new business without setting up technical industrial research that has a specific responsibilities and accountability. Secondly, we need to enhance the role of research institute, and we need to adjust KPI and weight KPI in favor of commercial research, technology transfer, intellectual property, and lastly, we need to invest more on talent mobility to support researcher in private sector. Innovation reform is not the only factor that could lead us to good jobs. The main mechanism, the key mechanism that we can reach this is we need an effective triple helix. Kun Nattasin will further explain how can we adopt triple helix in improving skills.
Thank you. Dr. Saurat just shared with you about the importance of system reform and innovation, but the real goal of new industry is to create good jobs. In order to be able to create good jobs, we have to expand industrial base and enhance competitiveness. We need to import or improve new technology so that we can improve production and services. And we have to invest on reskill, upskill, so that this technology can be applied in the job. If we only have technology, but we don't invest in skill development, we wouldn't have capacity to use the technology. But if we focus on skill development alone without investing in technology, the skill that we developed would be from previous technologies which are outdated, which we cannot increase the industrial capacity. So we need to link between enhancing technology and skill development. But currently, skill development in Thailand has failed because we separate technology and skill development from each other. Thailand has several measures for skill development. The main ones are according to Act on Promoting Skill Development of year BE 2545. Under these measures, corporations can deduct training expenditure for tax deduction up to 200%, and companies with more than 200 employees have to be responsible for skill development. More than half of their employees, if they fail to comply, they have to pay contribution to skill development fund. And is this measure successful? If we look at the number alone, we have around 3.7 million workers undergone the training. So it could call a success. But if we dig deeper, workers who attend the training, almost all, or 96%, under the company that are required to conduct skill development. Only 0.4% of workers who have been trained under voluntary system. And if we look further into the details, what skill they had been trained for workers under mandatory system, average expense per capita is only 249 baht. If we compare with training conducted under voluntary system in the blue bar, you can see that the training for under mandatory system, the value is only 1/4 of voluntary system. And if we compare with contributions that the company are required to pay, the mandatory system pay only 1/3 of per capita from voluntary system. And even if we compare with training courses focusing on technology, such as Thai German Institute training courses, which provide technology training, the expense is around 3,000 baht, several times higher than most company pay per person. So by requiring to comply under mandatory system cannot truly improve the skill level. In order to increase the level of skill in parallel with technology, private and public sector, academic and private sector have to work together. If otherwise, the academic sector wouldn't be able to have any information of the needs of private sector, what skills are in need, and what are the needs for technology. The courses offered are being trained according to the textbook, which are easily outdated because they can't catch up with industry changes. So producing workforce by the academic sector cannot satisfy the needs of private sector. Secondly, while technical skill or theoretical knowledge may be gained by attending courses, but know-how often happen in private sector going through trial and error. or learning by doing. And if the academic sector and private sector are not linked to each other, the academic sector would not be able to access this knowledge. As a result, when they produce workforce, they wouldn't have necessary skill that can be applicable to private sector. But linking between academic and private sector, there are two key traps that that prevent cooperation between the two. The first trap is not the same incentive. In the academic sector, the main incentive is knowledge transfer, whether from teaching and learning, from research work to be published to the public. At the same time, private sector incentive is confidentiality, especially technology or know-how secret, so that private sector would gain advantage over their competitors. In academic sector, they need academic freedom, but at the same time, private sector want to control how the trainings are conducted so that they can satisfy business needs. As you can see, academic and private sector have different incentives. Therefore, in order to bring about collaboration, we need to offer some incentives. And the second trap is coordination. In any industry, there are a lot of corporations involved, from multinational corporation, large corporation, including SMEs. Each company would have its own priorities, capacity, ability in accessing fund and personnel and technology as well. So they are hugely different. And for the academic sector, they have so many institutions, and each institute will be managed differently and have different expertise. So in order to coordinate between industry and academic sector, we need a lot of resources and efforts. So according to the economic principle, we call this too high cost of transaction. So in order to reduce the cost of transaction, we need an intermediary to link between industrial sector, such as technologies that are in need of the industry, or skills that can be applied by both industry, and then they can coordinate with the academic sector. So we will look at each trap. First, we have to change the incentive in order to stimulate cooperation with private sector. We have to do both with the private sector and academic sector, such as increase incentive, private sector granting tax privileges to private companies in order to produce workforce with academic institutions, granting research funds for corporations who conduct research together with academic. And for academic, we need to offer incentive as well, so that the academics are more willing to work with private sector, such as adjusting KPI, so that academic personnel can achieve some results through cooperation with private sector, and changing budgeting system, such as granting funds to support joint project between academic and private sector, which could incentivize such cooperation. And the second trap, we have to tackle the problems preventing collaboration by using specific industrial sector acting as an intermediary. As I mentioned, in order to tackle the problems in coordination, we need an intermediary to coordinate between the two. and specific industrial agency can play this role other than training their own personnel and conducting research. But nowadays, it's not the same anymore because the government doesn't pay enough attention to specific technology business, such as automotive industry that generate net revenue for the country around 300 billion baht per year. So, which is a large industry. At the same time, the government also supports automotive institution as well, which is another institution responsible for driving automotive industry forward. Only at 18 million baht or 0.005% of the revenue generated by this industry. Another industry, PCB industry, which is a newcomer. PCB industry has total FDI investment more than 200 billion baht and mostly are concentrated on high technology, which cause a lot of severe labor shortages. That's why TECC was established as a specific technology agency for PC industry. At the same time, we have FDI 200 billion baht. The government subsidized only 150 million baht in proportion 0.075% of the total investment. So it's not surprising that specific technology agency are very weak and therefore they cannot link with the industrial sector. Our proposal is that we have to reactivate the specific technology agency. It can be done in several ways. So such as competitiveness fund in order to promote specific technology agency by allocating the budget through competitive bidding or competitive grants, allow technology specific agency submit their plans in order to compete, and these proposals has to be more than 5-year term, and more importantly, there must be matching funds from private sector as well. By having matching funds is the best evidence to show that private sector has buy-in and they agree with the vision and the proposed plan. And in order to establish technology-specific agency, it can happen in different forms, depending on each industry's context, such as a case study on PCB industry. As I mentioned earlier, in the past 3 years, the FDI over 200 billion baht, more than 40 new factories were opened. They manufacture PCB for AI and data center. And the problems are that once we have a lot of FDI in short period of time, we face labor shortage, around 70,000 positions and 20,000 engineer position. And PCB use coordination mechanism with PCB Association and Mahanakhon Technology University in order to produce personnel. But once we face a huge labor shortage, the existing mechanisms cannot cope with the needs. So we established Thailand Electronic Circuit Center in order to cope with the problem. But once it was established, we faced two problems. As we do not have financial sustainability. EECC was established. They received grant from MHESI and matching from private sector another 150 million baht. As I said earlier, if we compare with more than 200 billion investment, it is the difference is so big. And more importantly, this project term is only 18 months. So after 18 months, no one knows what would happen. And the second problem is that TECC is a government agency under MHESI, which can cause a problem of agility, and they may have limited access to funding sources. Since it's a government agency, they cannot access from other competitiveness fund. Our proposal is that we have to adjust TECC structure in order to become a foundation or increase long-term support by using the fund from competitiveness fund grants, as I mentioned earlier, and also matching fund from private sector such as PCB Association. The main roles and responsibility of TECC is coordinating with the academic sector, preparing PCB curriculum, both production, designing, and try to produce personnel together with electricity institution. PCB, a lot of PCB have to be tested abroad because we do not have any facility to conduct such tests. And a second case study, other than specific technology industry, and they can be applied in service industry as well, such as wellness industry. Currently, it has grown significantly. And this industry is quite diverse, such as spa, beauty, anti-aging, preventive care. They require several professionals. So, but Thailand is not yet ready because we do not have sufficient standards. We do not have standard for facilities. We do not have training standards, and we don't have any regulating mechanism and enforcing mechanism as well. So our proposal is that we should establish a wellness institute. The way to do this is that it should be established to collaboration between business organization, and we need to have professional council as well, such as medical council or nursing council, because this industry is quite close to medical profession. We need to rely on core medical professions to regulate the industry. But for financing, it would come from competitiveness grant. And the main responsibility of wellness is to link three sectors together, public, private, and academic, in order to develop different standards, which are quite crucial because we want to sell wellness industry to foreign countries, and they pay a lot of attention to standards, and we need to regulate the standards as well, and we need to develop standard curriculum as well. Key takeaways from this session: if we want to create good jobs, innovation and skills have to develop hand in hand. We can have good jobs once we have strong innovation and personal development linking with technology. But the problem is Thailand, we separate personal development from technology. The academic sector is not linked with the private sector. So firstly, the government should change the trade promotion policy and mechanism to promote academic sector in order to create collaboration between private academic sector. Secondly, the government should strengthen specific technology agency in order to act as an intermediary between industry and academic sector. If this could be done, I believe that Thailand can build new growth engines and can create good jobs. People would have jobs, would earn income, and have hope as well. Thank you.